What's up, everybody? Today I am going to jump right into it. I'm going to talk about 5 reasons why most new real estate investors fail. Okay, this is just some cold hard truths I want to tell everybody because this is stuff that I got caught up in leading up to my first deal, and I want you guys to avoid this because it's really just a waste of time. That's not to say some of it works, but it really just wasted my time, and I don't want you to waste your time. I'd rather have you save your hard-earned money and move it into something better, like an FHA loan or a 203k loan or just a regular down payment on a rental property. So, okay, I'm gonna jump right into it. So number 1 is analysis paralysis. So a lot of people talk about this in pretty much every aspect of any business, but it's basically just doing as much research as you can before jumping into something. And what happens is you get so caught up in the details of what you're about to do, and you actually never just take action. You get caught up in, oh, well, I don't know this yet, or I don't know that yet, or, okay, well, I feel good about this part, but, maybe not about this part. And once I find out that, I'll go. That's not the way to go. I did that myself. I really just was always trying to find a better way to do things. I was like just always stuck on details, and it kills me, and it still kills me to this day. It still trips me up a lot. I catch myself getting really caught up in details when action just always is the most important thing. In my book that I'm putting out, that I've been working on, which is basically a roadmap on how I got into this thing, I talked about how action begets action. Pretty much it's really crazy what happens when you take action. It turns into another action and another action. So a little bit of making a decision in the beginning is gonna just absolutely, jumpstart your way into the next part of your career. So that's the first thing. The second thing is talking about action while we're on that subject is fake action. I saw a lot of this in the guru community. There's a lot of, I won't name names, but there's a lot of real estate education programs out there that they basically trick you into thinking you're doing something when I really just don't think you are. What's fake action? Fake action is doing things that are making you seem busy and making you seem like you're working on your business, but not actually doing anything of value. So, for example, one of these education companies that does this, they talk about you, like they focus on you building your team first. Building your team first is just like, it's you're putting the cart before the horse. Listen, when you have a deal, everything else is going to fall into place. It doesn't matter. You'll find a lawyer. There's billions of lawyers. There's billions of properties. There's not obviously exactly billions, but there's just an overabundance of lawyers, realtors, good deals, everything, mortgage brokers, everything that you need to get this thing done. They're out there, and they'll come out of the woodwork as soon as you have a good deal on your hands. When you don't, and you give them a call and you tell them, hey, I'm an aspiring real estate investor, I'm telling you right now, they get calls like that day in, day out, and no one ever calls them back. I get the calls myself. Because I buy properties on Long Island, and they see that I bought it with cash only or with a hard money lender, I basically get put on these lists, and I get called all the time, like probably a couple times a week, of people that are like, hey, I'm an aspiring investor, or I'm a real estate investor, and I have a lot of deals across my table. Are you interested in getting some deals in your area? I tell them, okay, yes, I am. What deals do you have right now? And they're like, well, I don't have any yet, or I just sold my last one, which is all BS. It's just them trying to kind of like find investor buyers that they can wholesale their house to. That's an example. I don't want to get too into that part, but they're tire kickers, really. This is really why I put so much emphasis into getting your first deal, because once you have your first deal, you are separating yourself from all those people that all pretend to be doing things and pretend to be building a team and pretend to be an investor and say that, and are lying that they're an investor, you have a cold hard deal that you could show anyone in your network that you did, and you become a player. And then everything else falls into place. When you call up a realtor, you tell them, listen, I flip deals. This is the deal that I had. You give them a deal. You give them a case study of the deal. They know that you're the real, that you're a player, and they're going to take you more seriously. They don't want to waste their time on people that are just constantly, calling them up, asking me. You need to give back, and you have to give back real business. Okay. The third thing is spending cash finding off-market deals. So I see a lot of stuff online. I get caught up in it. It really all boils back down to wholesaling. I hate to always rag on wholesaling. I guess it's just because I just had a terrible experience with it personally. But I just think that you should take that money that you spend in building your wholesaling business and just sock it away and put it for a down payment. You really don't need that big of a down payment if you use an FHA loan. So sock that money away, save it up, and get a real estate investment. You're putting a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of effort into something where it's not going to be a residual real estate asset at the end of the day. If you find a property and you flip it, whether it be the contract or flipping the house itself, it's a one and done. Yeah, you might make a quick 30 grand, but you're back to square one and you have to look for properties all over again. There's a lot of stuff out there like distressed seller data feeds and like mailing lists and of distressed sellers and ways to you spend money and then you're able to get a list of all these like off-market foreclosures and all these off-market deals. Listen, off-market deals aren't going to be like that much better than a foreclosure or a bank-owned property. There's so much inventory out there, despite what a lot of people think. If you put in enough offers and you know what you're looking for, those deals will pop up in forms of bank-owned properties, in forms of foreclosures. Again, if you're working with a realtor who takes you seriously, they're going to have their own pocket deals. And if they know you're a real player and they know you're a real investor, they're going to give you those pocket deals. You don't need to knock on doors and ask little old ladies if they're willing to sell their house and move out for, a fraction of what it's worth. So take that money that you would spend buying, all kinds of marketing to try to market to people that are distressed sellers to try to find off-market deals, and just use that and bid on some foreclosures, bid on some bank-owned properties, bid on some short sales. There's plenty of that out there. If you have your numbers right, you'll be surprised. You put a couple offers out and you'll get accepted. These banks don't want to hold on to these things, So that kind of leads me into the fourth thing, which is no money down deals. This is a tricky one. Listen, it's going back to the fact that there's always ways to do this. There's ways to make money doing this stuff. There's ways to make money wholesaling. There's ways to make money flipping. There's ways to make money getting, seller financing deals and all these super creative financing ways to kind of get into a house with, a minuscule amount of money. What I will say is there's probably not going to be anything that's going to cost you less than an FHA loan, but I'll get more into that when I talk a little bit more about the FHA stuff. But basically, no money down deals they're so few and far between. And again, the amount of work that you put into finding them, I just think is not worth the squeeze. It's work. I'm a big believer, and my dad always taught me to work smarter, not harder. That's not to say hard work doesn't get you far, but it's 80-20 rule, right? You want to make sure that 20% of your effort is getting you 80% of your results. A lot of the time that you're going to spend spinning your wheels isn't going to do much, but then there's going to be those one or two phone calls that you make, those one or two deals that you find that are going to give you all the deals going forward. So really be smart. Put your energy in the right places, and you won't have to find these crazy off-market seller financing, reverse short sales, all kinds of. There's a ton of them, ton of strategies that are out there. People have done them. That's great. More power to them. That's awesome. But This is why a lot of newbies fail at this stuff, because they get frustrated so quickly trying to find these crazy diamonds in the rough that end up making you really frustrated, and then you end up quitting before you even start. The last thing is flipping and wholesaling. I just beat this stuff up. Flipping, again, is something that I do, but I'm not even the biggest fan of it. I'm doing a flip right now, and it's just not working out the way I wanted it to. And I really wish I used the money and just bought another rental property. But flipping is an avenue to get you more liquid capital to then go into a real estate investment, right? So if you're able to flip and take that money and parlay it into buying more rental properties, then flipping is a good thing. Same thing with wholesaling. Listen, wholesaling is very viable when you're a player and you're already like getting deals. Like what'll happen is once you start making a name for yourself in your area and you're a real investor, deals will start falling on your lap. Then you can start wholesaling, okay? Then I'm like, all right, well, I'll lock up this contract because this is something that someone came to me with. But you know what? Maybe I don't want to do this deal right now. I have another flip going on. I'll sell it to one of my other investor friends. I'll give it to him for like $5-10 grand, and he'll appreciate that I gave him the contract, and it's a win-win. But when you're a beginner, you're spending so much time and effort trying to find this. You rather just get that first deal, do whatever you can to get that first deal, save up all your money that you would typically spend on marketing and driving for dollars and all this stuff, all these strategies out there to find off-market deals. Save your money, work hard, get a side gig if you can, and put a little and sock it away for a month or two until you have enough to put a down payment on an FHA loan. You really don't need much. 3.5% is really not a lot. It's a drop in the bucket compared to what you're getting. Yeah, in terms of flipping, like TV shows ruined it for everyone in the market. TV shows made everyone think that flipping is like super easy. It's like the typical TV show goes, oh, okay, I found this property for $20,000 and it only needed paint and it needed like some drywall. And it was kind of rough because we found a crack in the foundation and it costed us an extra $1,000. But, when all's said and done, I was able to sell it for 150 grand. And that means I got, whatever it was, $100,000 profit. They forget to include a lot of stuff, okay? There's a lot of stuff that goes in between. They forget taxes. They forget closing fees. They forget transfer fees. They forget hard money interest payments if they're using hard money, which most of them are, because if they're not, they're dumb. There's just a lot of different things that they don't even mention. Commission fees. There's just so much stuff that they never say on that list. It's usually just what they bought it for plus the rehab and then what they sold it for, and then the difference they say is what they make profit. Okay? No, it's not. Plus there's capital gains tax, which is a whole nother thing. But pretty much when you do a flip like that, you get taxed to hell. The government wants their piece, and they especially want their piece if you're making a really, really quick, if you're making a really, really quick, big six-figure or five-figure amount of money. Wholesaling, again, it's a way of flipping. I really, again, just don't believe that it's worth the squeeze. A lot of these online programs teach you that wholesaling is a no money down way of, you're not using your own money to flip houses. You're using your money and you're using a lot of manpower and labor hours to try to find these off-market deals. And if if it takes you months to find one deal and you flip it, okay, you make 5-10 grand. You could probably just do that working a regular job. So it's really tough. It's really tough to say and kind of cheer these things on when I've just seen so many people try and fail at that stuff. I'd rather you just use your money wisely. Be patient. It's very similar to like what they talk about in stocks, right? They talk about the difference between a day trader versus a long-term investor. Day trading is really sexy. It seems really cool. It's a quick way to make quick money. But when they compare most day traders to like, your classic, like, teacher that had a 401k that was, a long-term investment over 20 years, she sat and stayed content with her money being in a couple big stocks over the same amount of time. She actually ended up making more money than a stock trader, because she was just really patient, and slow and steady wins the race type of thing. The stock market has steadily grown hundreds of percent over the last 20 years. And people that were trying to day trade in between probably lost more than they would have made if they just sat in the stock for the last 20 years. Same rules apply with real estate. A quick buck isn't really going to last long, and in the long run, it's probably going to screw you over. So be really methodical, be really smart with your money. Listen, if you don't have the financial responsibility to save up, a down payment, a 3.5% down payment for your first property, I'm going to tell you, real estate's not going to be easy for you, man. You really have to be super resourceful in real estate. It takes a lot more than just doing some slick strategies to make a couple dollars. You really got to be financially smart, and you'll be rewarded if you're patient. So those are my 5 things. If you have any other questions, or you have any comments, or you disagree with me, please comment. Let me know. I want to engage with you guys. I want to give you more value if I can. All right. So take care, and be on the lookout. I have a book coming out that I wrote it's an ebook that I basically go through my entire process, exactly what I did to turn my $9,500 down payment into a $2,000 a month cash flowing rental property that has $130,000 of equity in it. It's roughly about a 1,200% ROI, and it's done using a government loan, using a 203k loan. It is the only way to make something like this happen, and you guys should all be using it. All right, take care. Happy Monday. I'll see you guys soon.